We are back, and you're watching News Channel 3 Live at 9. We've been talking this morning with best-selling author Les Standiford and Detective Sergeant Joe Matthews.
Bringing Adam home, of course, the case of Adam Walsh changed everybody. It was an incredible case, and everyone remembers it from 1981. You say in the book, without a shadow of a doubt, who murdered Adam Walsh.
Is there more evidence out there, or was there evidence out there that even the police were not aware of?
And that's what we base it on. We don't base it on opinion. We base it on actual police facts. Not only it's so compelling because I found witnesses to the abduction. I found family members that were remorseful. They never came forward, but they were never asked by the police.
Of the
perpetrator.
Of the perpetrator.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And the perpetrator was?
Ottis Toole.
The drifter.
Toole family, 1 month after Adam went missing, he started bragging about it. And he felt bad about it because it was the youngest child he had ever killed.
So he had killed others.
Oh, he was a serial murderer.
Talk to us about some of the evidence that a lot of people, I think, are going to really find absolutely amazing that was in this case.
Real quick, there was a damage to the vehicle, the suspect vehicle. That means the car that Ottis Toole was driving.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to validate that damage. So I was looking at photos, and I knew FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, took 5 rolls of film.
Because that was in the police report?
Yes.
Okay.
It actually was in a memo from FDLE saying we took 5 rolls of film, but it was never documented in a Hollywood report.
Okay.
So based on that, I asked a detective in Hollywood if he would retrieve those films from FDLE. A week later, he told me they didn't exist. A week after that, he said they don't have them, period. I couldn't believe that. I found them myself, and they said what was so disturbing, they developed the rolls of film into negatives, but no one ever asked the negatives to be developed into prints.
Oh my
Therefore,
gosh.
I was the first one,
27 years.
27 years after
And what,
Adam was
what do
killed.
these pictures show
Yeah, what are
that
we
we're
looking at
looking at
right
in
here?
What you have with the machete, that machete was retrieved from the suspect's vehicle. Luminol illuminates blood
Right.
from a chemical.
Right.
So you'll see the blue on the left-hand side, and that is the handle being covered in blood.
So after the knife, the machete was washed, the blood still shows up. And was this Adam's blood?
Well, we tried a DNA sample
Right.
29 years later, and we were able to extract DNA, but not enough to do a comparative analysis to prove it was Adam's.
Was
Because
it the
you
type
didn't have
of the
DNA
blood?
then.
But it
Right.
was blood.
But it was the blood
It was
type.
verified blood.
And
now,
his
the
car-
other thing,
Let me flip the
no,
page.
right there. First, right there, you have the footprints
Okay.
of Ottis Toole in blood. And I'm sorry, go
Okay,
ahead.
okay.
See
And then
what I
this
can
was
look at.
also in his car, the
All right.
picture
Now
Now,
of
that's
this.
the most compelling.
What are we
Ottis
looking at
Toole
here?
admitted that he had cut Adam's head off and then threw it in the back on the floorboard. That is a blood transfer from Adam's face onto the carpet, and it illuminates, and it looks to me and everyone else as the shrouded turn. You actually see Adam's image that was positively identified by his mother.
And this
So, Joe,
film was
when
undeveloped.
when did this come to light?
That just came about right before the case was closed. I'd say in 2008.
Have you gotten any flack from the Hollywood Police Department? Because they've got to be horribly mortified by this.
Chief Chad Wagner, who is the chief of police today, he's the only one that was man enough to go on national television and apologize to the Walshes for the mistakes that Hollywood made
Wow.
and embraced me, saying thank you.
What
Wow.
did the Walshes say, Les?
They embrace this book. It opens up old wounds, but they say at least now the not knowing is over.
And does that help?
You don't get you don't get closure, but you do get a little sense of justice. And yes, they said it helps. It's time to move on.
We also talked about how working on this changed your lives. How did this also change America?
Well, when I was a kid, you could run out of the house in the evening and it was summer and say, "Hey, Mom, I'll be home at dark."
Right.
Mom would say, "Okay," and if Mom did that today, she'd probably be brought up on charges.
Right, neglect. You have written so many thrillers. This story, if you had written it in a
I
fictional
don't
book,
think people would have believed it.
is that your reaction as someone who has written
When he
crime
showed
fiction?
me that evidence, some of which we just looked at, when I looked at his report, I met his gaze and I knew I had to write this book. I've written 17 of them. I said, finally, one that really matters. Every parent needs to see, particularly someone who's had a loss, I think they'll be heartened to know that there's someone like Joe Matthews.
Dogged.
Yeah.
And in
This one's
fact,
on the case for sure.
a Mid-South family has contacted you, and you may well meet with them, the Pendergrass.
Yeah, we just had an email from a family here in Memphis this morning as we were coming over here. The
Yeah, the
Pendergrass.
Pendergrass family, yeah, they just emailed me, like to set up a meeting.
Their case, of course, his son, a Rhodes student, just vanished, seemingly into thin air about 3 years ago, I believe.
And one of the things you discover is how much of this there is out there, how many sad stories
We've
there
gotten
are.
so many emails, it's
How
really
do you
sad.
stand it as a policeman?
You know, you have to do is separate family from work. And that's the only way to do it.
Well, thank God there are people like you out there.
Well, thank God there are people like this guy that
Absolutely.
made sense of the whole thing and
All right.
wrote a beautiful book.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much. The book, Bringing Adam Home.
And a book
Abduction that
signing.
Changed America.
Tonight at Davis Kidd. All right, we put that on the screen when we were yapping over here.
All right, we
Thank
gotta
you
go
so
to break
much.
here.
Pleasure.
We will continue. You're watching Channel 3, Live at 9.